Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what time you decided to stop by, but I'm sure glad you did. Welcome to Confessions. I'm your host, Coach Nikki G. I'm not your typical coach. I'm here to help you grow your emotional, mental, and spiritual muscles. On my podcast, I like to talk about the topics or situations that a lot of us like to sweep under the rug. But at some point, you can only sweep so much under the rug before things begin to come out. And when those things begin to come out, that's where I come in to help you build your muscles so you can deal with the come out. Today's topic, it happens often, behind closed doors. A lot of us, we will, suffer in silence. It is domestic violence. 1 in 3 women will experience this type of abuse from their intimate spouses. 1 in 3 women. And in most cases, the women often suffer in silence. But now it's time to break the silence and stand together against domestic violence. I was just looking at a news show here on YouTube, and it said that in Texas, I am located here in Houston, Texas, and 64 counties, we have lost 216 people due to domestic violence. 179 women, 37 men, and in the case of guns, we've lost 129 women due to domestic violence. They have lost their lives with the use of a gun. 51% tried to leave. Now, what really caught my eye about that article was the fact that they also said they are victims as young as 13 years old. They talked about one case of a 13-year-old girl who was murdered by her 15-year-old boyfriend. So if you know someone or you yourself may be in this type of situation, I want you to take time to write this number down. 1-800-799-7233, National Domestic Violence Hotline. They can help you. Or text START, START, to 88788, and someone will be there to help you. Today, I have a guest who's here to confess how she survived a toxic relationship that included physical, emotional, and mental abuse. Now, in order to get out of those types of situations, if you listen to my previous podcast, I talked about a safety plan. It's best to have you a safety plan in place. That is a group of person that you could trust, a select group of phone numbers that you have, and then you come up with a plan so that you can leave safely, because that's important. Now, Vanessa, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Well, I'm so glad you decided to come on here and show your inner power by telling your story, because I know it's not easy. We can all be triggered sometimes from our past. But the good news is you survived.
I survived. I really did. Still strong too. Made me stronger. But I
Exactly.
started, first boyfriend, toxic. I got a
What
baby in
age
the
was your
graveyard.
first what age was your first experience with
I
that?
first experience with that, I was 25 years old.
And
And
tell
I
us,
got
how
pregnant.
did you meet the person? Oh, excuse me. How did you meet the
I met the person through my mom. He was older than me, 5 years older than me.
Mhm.
And I met him through my mom. And and I'm gonna be real. Me being a project girl, he got money, so I thought I had an opportunity. But consequences came with that opportunity. You know, uh, he was very, very. At first, he was nice and kind. He was the most sweetest person in the world.
So tell
But
us about the
after I,
relationship in the beginning. Like, why,
in the
what was he
beginning,
doing to make you? When he had his mask on, what was he
Yeah,
doing?
when he had his mask on, he was
Get you to
nice.
be
Taking me out
vulnerable.
to dinner. Yeah,
Mhm.
taking me out to dinner, nice. Come see me. We spend time together. Go new movie come out, we go see the movie. He was a typical well groomed man. I'll put it that way. You know, but and I met him when I was 15. I
Mhm.
moved out of my house when I was 18, and I moved out on my own. And he decided to move in with me. Okay, that was fine because we was planning on getting married anyway. So that was fine. Then I wound up pregnant. I wound up pregnant. But I was 25 then. I wound up pregnant. And in between 15 and 18, he was fine. By the time I turned 19 was when I got my first slap.
What
He slapped
happened?
me. And he slapped me because I went out the house to go do something. Is what I had on, and I never forget what I had on. Had on some red pants, cause girl, I was fine. Had on the red pants, shirt, and with a tie. I had on a red tie. It was a white shirt with a red tie. He came in from work and seen how I was dressed, and we started arguing for no reason really. Oh, I didn't have the food cooked. I didn't cook that day. So that was his reason. That was his reason to slap me because the food wasn't cooked. I went out showing, he said I went out being a slut, is what he said. And when I say he slapped the taste out of my mouth, he slapped the taste out of my mouth.
So let's go back. So you guys ended up moving in together, but you wasn't
Right.
married.
We weren't married. No, we
Okay.
weren't
So
married.
the dynamics of your household was he went out and worked and you stayed home.
Hmm. And I stayed home.
And you were pregnant at
So,
the time that he slapped you?
yes, I was pregnant at the time when he slapped me. And when I say slap the taste out of my mouth, and me and his dad, his mama, we was all cool. They was so when I think his daddy had called, and I pick up the phone and I told his daddy what's happened. His daddy came remove me from the house. His daddy came and got me, removed me from the house, and got on him for slapping me. Right. So about 2 weeks in, I went stay with his mom and his daddy. And about 2 weeks in, I moved back home. Everything was fine. Everything was fine till the 8th month of my pregnancy. He just started beating me for no reason. You know why he started beating me for no reason? I caught him picking up his girlfriend.
Mm.
And when I seen that, and I had my bags packed, ready to leave, ready to go back home. And when I seen that, but he begged me to stay and all that good stuff. But after that, it was like he could. I don't know what triggered him to just start beating on me for no reason. I don't know what it. And I got raped in the process. And that, now I found out later it was rape because he forced himself on me. So I guess that's how he got off, by beating me, then raping me.
Now, was
And
that
then
all the time or was that an isolated?
all the time. No, all the time.
So let's go back to the first time he slapped you. So
Okay.
if you listen to my previous podcast, we talked about domestic violence and we talked about how it's a form of control. The individual likes to have control. It's when they feel
Mhm.
like they don't have that control, that's when they go into the rage. Now, that control could be isolation, it could be the silent treatment, or it could be physical, but they're going to try to exert some kind of control over you to get you to do the things that they want you to do. Now, we also talked about how cultural differences play a part. Just as she stated, she normally cooked and did certain things. Well, when that wasn't done, that was his way of asserting his control over her to let her know, or that she needs to have these things done. It's kind of like they're trying to
Mhm.
play your daddy and whoop on you because you didn't do what I told you to do.
And that's pretty much what it was. It was to do his way, or I would get beat. You know, and what really, and then we got into it. I don't know what I did that day, but honey, he caught me in there, and his friends and all, they would try to talk to him, and stuff like that. They would come talk to me, but it wouldn't stop. It's like I don't know what his problem was. I really don't. Till today, I don't know what his problem was. But the way I would dress, oh honey, please. I would dress when you met me. I was dressing that way, and that's what I would tell him. I even went to work with a black eye because I decided to get a job. That's when I was deciding to move out on my own. That man beat me up so bad. I was hospitalized. The baby in me, her neck was broke. She died.
Jesus.
She
So
died.
he ended up um killing the baby.
Killing the baby. He kicked me in the stomach with his
Oh,
cowboy boot. And my mama can tell you, when my mama came in that hospital to look at me, she walked clean on out. One side of my face, girl, I looked like an alien, you know.
and he
And
did at that
just
point.
to
He
me,
went into a rage because we know it's a control thing, but at that time it was because you got a job. You were trying to leave, basically,
leave, yeah. But I didn't tell him I was trying to leave. I
but
guess
he
he
knew.
sensed it because
Yeah.
I didn't have to work. You know, he made good money. I didn't have to work. You know, he made good money. And so, and I wanted to go out on my own. I had to get away from him. And that's the way I was. I had to get away from him. In my mind, I was gonna raise my child on my own. That was my thing. So he came in from work that night. Well, not work. He was out with his friends. He came in, and I can remember like it was yesterday. I had buried all that in the back of my head, and I will never forget. We was in a White House, and they had some kind of way he bogarted the door to where I couldn't get out. And so he started. He said, "Where you coming from?" And I looked at him. I said, "Work." Who told you to go to work? And before I could say anything, I can feel my lip just went to the side. And he couldn't stop beating me. For some reason, he went into a rage. He couldn't
Mhm.
stop beating me that night. And it was like I thought I had died because I went numb. I just laid there and just let him beat me. There was nothing else I can do. And I didn't move. And he asked me some kind of question. I can't remember what it was, but it was a question he asked. And I didn't answer. And that's when he took his foot. And when I say kick me, his mama found me on the floor, brought me to American Legion Hospital, where I had on a red dress. I woke up, they told me my baby was dead. His daddy built a coffin for the baby. I wasn't at the burial. My mom and them was,
How
you
old? I
know,
mean,
and
how old? How many months pregnant
I
was
was 8 months pregnant. I
eight?
was 8 months
The
pregnant.
baby was
Eight
fully
months
developed.
pregnant. Nope. And for him to say that wasn't his child, well, Lord have mercy. Much as you raped me, you thought it wasn't your child, but I didn't. Brought back. And I lived that part of my life, that beginning of my life stayed with me for so long. Didn't believe in therapy. When I went to therapy, because I had forgot about it, I planned that. That part of my life was just gone. And even after I left him, he was still trying. He
Okay,
tried to kill
so
me.
let's back up to the baby. So this really is triggering for me because let me tell y'all something. I've been knowing Vanessa for I don't know 20+ years, and I
Yeah,
never knew
24
this. This
years.
is new. I don't ask people their story before they come on. I know that they had some kind of experience, but I didn't know how deep it was, and I knew she had an experience, but I didn't know it was that deep.
Yeah.
So what was your safety plan? How did you get out of that situation? Because this individual was very, very controlling. He was watching your every move. Like,
Every move.
how did you get out?
How I got out was one day I went back after the hospital. I went back because I had nowhere to go, so I went back. But I stayed to his mom and daddy house when I went back, so everything was fine. So I went. He went to work, and I went over there, and he called. He came. Well, after work, he came to his mama house. He said, "I would love some hamburger helper." I say, "Oh." And Satan played Satan, because I it came out, my meanness came out then. I say, "Oh, okay, girl, I had put red poison in the ground meat. God sent my mama to come get that ground meat and throw it out the yard. I was ready to kill him. And so that's when I decided it's time for me to go because I was gonna go to prison.
Yes. And he
And when
wasn't.
I left, he still controlled. When I left, okay, I lived in Jennings, and when I left him, I moved to Lake Charles with some friends of mine. Girl, he was stalking me. Came there, messed up my, Yeah, to my right ear.
What did he
If
where
it
did he
wasn't,
find you when
he would follow me. He would fight because he even went talk to my friend's parents to make me come back home and this and that. And he found me. He did. Lake Charles not that big. He found me
that's
because he
Lake
knew where
Charles,
I worked.
Louisiana. Okay.
Yeah, he knew where I worked. So and he would come on my job. He would stalk me. He would hide behind the bushes, and stuff like that. I always had to have protection in coming home. That night, I didn't have protection, and he was hiding behind the bush. Girl, when I say he kicked that door in, he was tearing me up. What saved my life was when my sister from Georgia called. And all I could say was, whoever this is, call the police. But she didn't call the police. She called my mama. How my mom and them got there so my mama had a double barrel shotgun. The sheriff made it there just in time. He'd have been a dead
Not
man.
Annie Mae.
And the man said, didn't she tell you she didn't want you? If she don't want you, leave her alone.
Yes.
But he wouldn't. I bet you didn't mess with me no more after that. But yes. And it was like every man I meet, they either physical or verbally abuse me. So I'm chilling right now. I've
So
been through
after
some
that incident with your mom, that's how you were able to stop him from stalking and bothering
from
you. He
stalking
went
and
on.
my
You didn't
mom
go down
and
to
my
the police
stepdad.
department or anything and get like a protection order.
It
You just
didn't work because in Louisiana, if you got money, you got power. And that's where my thing came in it. Even when I went to go get the baby, when I was hospitalized and everything, it was erased. It is erased. In Louisiana, if you got money, you got power. Little small towns. When I went to American Legion to go get my information, so I can put it on my bed, I wanted to get her a tombstone. Honey, because I can't remember the exact date she was born. I remember the year, I can't remember the date. Honey, child, it's erased. They have no record of me being in that hospital. He stayed in jail one night. One night. And then when I found, that's when I vowed, you come around me, you gonna die. He left me alone kind of sorta. He really didn't, but he left me alone kind of sorta, you know. And so I dated after him, but this guy here was off the chain. He was nice. That was a good relationship. I'm looking for him now. So if you on here, I'm looking for you, Milton Lewis. I'm looking for him. But
so after that incident or after that toxic relationship, did you take a break or did you immediately
yes, no,
took a break?
no, Nick. I took a break. I took a break, enjoying myself. I was in the clubs, and I'm serious. I never been to a club, but when I got that club life, I was in the club from Thursday through Saturday. I didn't have no boyfriend, no nothing.
How
No.
did that affect your emotional and mental state at that time? After it,
At
after
that
you went
time,
through it.
after that, after especially after the death of my baby, you know, that really tore me up. But I didn't talk to nobody about it. Nobody knew. Nobody knew I was tearing up inside. Nobody knew because I didn't talk to nobody. I come from a family where you just keep your problems to yourself. It don't matter what kind of problems you have. You keep them to yourself. And that's the way I was brought up. Nobody wanted to hear about it. Nobody wanted to say anything about it or anything.
And
So,
that's what
but
I mean by sweeping things under the rug. We don't talk about it.
mhm, don't
It's
talk
my
about
purpose to break that generational curse of sweeping stuff under the rug and not talking about it. How
it.
many
And that's
how
it.
many more generations are we going to let that continue when we know better now? As adults, we know better now. Maybe our parents, that was their generation, but our generation,
Mhm.
we know better. If we
That's
don't
and
have
that's
that person that we can go talk to, the person we trust, there are people, individuals in place for you to talk to. And that stigma of going to get help makes you look a certain way. Who cares how you look? You're going to get the help that you need.
and that's what took me. It was my supervisor that had me to go talk to a therapist because like the therapist said, it was still eating me up. It was there, even though I thought I had put it out of my mind, but it was there, and I felt good going to talk to her. Years later, yes, I feel good. I feel good about myself,
Yeah.
you know. And so because but I had built up an anger in me that everybody was getting a taste of it, you know. So but yeah, I done became because she put it like I was like controlling my wrong feelings or something like that she had said, you know, but it brought it out, you know. And now I can talk. I if something going on with me, I'd rather not hold it in because it caused me to be depressed, didn't give a care how I look, you know, and everything. Now you can't tell me nothing.
No,
You
you
know,
can't.
even though I'm on here looking bad, but you know, I was at the last minute. Y'all should see me bopped up. But anyway, but
So
yeah, but
your next relationship after this incident, your next relationship, what was it like? Because
oh, it
sometimes
was beautiful.
when we leave one toxic relationship and we don't take the time to heal from it, we find ourselves going from relationship to relationship within the same situation because we haven't
Right,
taken time to heal.
right.
I'm speaking that truth because I know I've been there. So I'm asking you, was that your story? Like your next
That's my
relationship
story.
after we're gonna call him the
The,
cowboy. The next after the
the
cowboy.
relationship after the cowboy, I didn't like for 5 years, and I met this guy at work. I met this guy at work. He was my supervisor. Don't date nobody at work, y'all. But he was my supervisor, and we started off as friends. We really did. He was wonderful. He was wonderful. We dated for 5 years. I don't know what happened to him after that. He didn't do anything wrong. We would argue, but you know, it was just simple stuff. But he never put his hands on me. He never verbally abused me or anything. That was the only relationship that I had I can say that I didn't have a toxic one. Because me and him got along fine. Till today I don't know why he left, but he disappeared. So I don't know what happened. I don't know. And then it's like I do this 5 year span
Mhm.
because after him I waited, wind up with the most. Let me not say that because he in the next one. This guy here was toxic also. I wound up with another toxic relationship. He didn't try to kill me or anything. He was verbally abusive, physically abusive. He was controlling too. He had a problem with what I wear. He had a problem to what I wear to where he cut I had on a warm up suit. He cut it off. And I have a child. I have two children for him.
That
Not the
was
last
another
two.
thing that I talked
Yeah,
about too.
not the
A lot
last
of these people are jealous, they're insecure, and that's their way of asserting control. So cutting up your clothes was his way of saying, okay, you're not gonna wear you don't have any clothes to wear, you're not going out, you know?
two. And I
At
still
least they
even
think that anyway.
that's and even with the next relationship, so like the third relationship, even that they had when you met me, I was dressing like that. Then all of a sudden when I become your woman, you got a problem with it. But and same thing, verbally abused, physically abused. This sucker he'll pull a patch of hair out of my head. So, you know, and it's like I don't know. I just attract these type of men. And that's what I was attracting, these type of men. And it started when I went to therapy. It started with that first man I was with.
Mhm.
But I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I that's not what I want for me. I didn't like that. You know, so it's best for me to be, you know, single. And with me being single, people think I'm gay. I'm far from gay. I'm just chilling. I don't want to deal with that no more. I want a
I
peace of
found
mind right now.
a lot of people in our age range that they haven't dealt with their own issues of being alone or feeling abandoned. So they look at people like myself that choose to be single as something is wrong. There is nothing wrong with being single by choice. That means that you're a healed person and you no longer feel the need to be validated by being with someone else. You know your worth on your own. You don't need someone else to validate that. So when You make the decision that you want to date, that's what you will do. But someone that hasn't healed within, they're going to find that, oh, that's weird. I have people right now. Are you sure you okay?
There it is. That's
Do you
true. Are
need,
you
don't
sure
you
you're
want to
okay?
go out?
Mm-hmm.
Even some of my own family, you too young to be by, yeah, I'm just fine. Maybe your
I'm
generation, that was like you had to do, but with me, I'm fine.
just fine.
I'm in my okay phase. I'm okay being by myself.
That's it.
I'm okay to go out. I'm okay if I
Yeah,
stay at home. I'm
that's it.
okay.
That's
I'm
it. That
I'm
is
in
okay.
peace. And I'm here right now to bring other women so they can experience what this sense of peace feels like.
Sense of peace. That's it. Sense of peace, honey. I ain't got a deal because, and then I don't want to choose no man because I'm choosing the wrong ones. Because even the last relationship I was in, it was toxic, you know. Or then you got the verb, then you got the ones don't want nobody to know you dating them. What's wrong with me? Ain't nothing wrong with me. What's wrong with me? Okay, then I don't.
It's highly
Mm-mm,
likely those individuals are already in relationships or married. I
mm-mm,
mean, relationships, married, or they're hiding you because
yeah.
they're doing something they don't have any business. Let's
So
be for real.
I'm just chilling.
So after the the baby daddy, you had two children with them. So what was that relationship like? We know once the mask fell off, he was physically, emotionally abusive with you.
Very
And how long did you
controlling.
stay in that relationship?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years. Because I really didn't have no money, nowhere to go.
That's
And
another
that was my
controlling thing.
problem right
People
there.
they'll
That was it
use
right there.
money to control you.
Yes, you see. So then I just learned, go to work, get your own money. But then this I'm gonna put my very last relationship. No, not very last. Very last was all right. I got tired and left that alone. But say my baby daddy right now, he was physically abusive and verbal. I went through a lot with him.
Let's back up.
But
So did you ever get married? You got married at
yes,
some point.
yeah, I'm married.
Did you
Mm-hmm.
marry?
And divorced.
You got married. So what
Mm-hmm.
was that relationship like? You went through all these toxic relationships. Now you met your husband. What was that
Mm-hmm.
relationship like?
Toxic. I think I think he married me because I got pregnant for him. And he knew I was gonna go back to Louisiana, which I did, and he came and got me. And when we went with my marriage that I just had, I tried to make it work. Okay. It was physically and abusive relationship. It really was. And he I don't know, he wasn't ready to be married. And when we went to marriage counseling, and he had a problem with what I wear too. He had a problem with the clothes I wear. Get up in the morning, go to work. He see what I have on. We get in an argument because of what I was wearing to work. So he did a lot of stuff. He stopped working, and I had to work 2, 3 jobs plus go to school just to keep food and a roof over our head. And so one night I called the cops on him. I didn't want him in my house no more. And the cops asked me a question. I can never forget that. He went, Miss, do you ever flirt? And you know what I told him? All the time. I flirt all the time. And like I told him, I said, it's all right for him to flirt in my face. He would flirt in my face. Half naked woman in Kroger's. He followed her out the store, and I left him at Kroger's. Let her bring you home. And so I wound up with another toxic relationship in my marriage. And when we went to marriage counseling, he said he didn't want to be married at that time. That's what he had said.
Mm.
But he brought me through hell because he wasn't ready to be married. You shouldn't have married me. You asked me to marry you. I didn't ask you to marry me.
Ladies, ladies. We all have to learn
And I
about
learned.
the importance of marriage. We said we want a godly man. We want this marriage to be built on the word of God. However, we marry these men that do not have a clue, and we're expecting them to have a clue. And Lord knows I've learned the hard way. That's my witness right there. I've learned the hard way. So when you jump into these marriages or you get married without doing, like my co-host say, a background check, he always said check with the grandma because the grandma ain't gonna lie to you. She gonna tell you everything you want to know if you can meet that grandmother. But do a background check. Find out what their idea of marriage is. What does marriage look like for them? You know, see what or find out what's leading that person. Are they being led by God? Because if they're being led by God, then you don't have to worry about a thing. Because that guy's going to love you. That man is going to love you in a healthy way. And if that person is not doing those things and you know that's where you are as a woman, then it's no need to get married. I believe, and this is my personal belief, that a lot of us grew up. I was reading this article about Ken and Barbie, the two dolls, the perfect lady, the perfect man. They together. She got a Corvette and all that extra. That's a fairy tale. I feel like a lot of us have spent too many years chasing the American dream of being married, having the ideal husband and having children. And we so focused on that ideal that we're not doing the footwork. They don't tell you the footwork you need to do to make sure that you're doing the right thing. If I would have known what I know about marriage now, I would have never got married, period. Because none of
Amen.
the individuals that I was yoked to, we were not equally yoked at all. And they were leading me to a path of destruction. I like to say, leading me in the ditch and just leaving me there. I'm standing there like, hello, I'm here.
Hello. And one thing my therapist told me, she would ask me, why? Why did I stay so long? I couldn't answer. I didn't have no answer. I didn't have no answer for her because I didn't know why I stayed long
I think
with,
this is my opinion why we stay in those relationships because we normalize it. We've been going through it so much in our minds. Okay, this man, he gonna fight me, but that's not. We try to normalize it, even though we know it hurts us. We still normalize it, and why? I don't know. We spend years before we get a wake up.
yeah,
Before we get
that's
a
true.
wake up, something triggers you, and you're like, I can't do this anymore.
Can't
I
do it.
can remember this man beating on me, dragging me through a hotel, and people stepping over me. Wouldn't even help me. I got up. I got away out of that situation. I can't remember. I had my two kids with me. They were like 2 and 3, I think. And I remember going into the police department telling this lady, hey, can you help me? I had my kids wrapped up in blankets. That lady looked at me and said, oh, are you sure y'all just didn't get in a fight? At that point, I just felt beat down. I never forget that feeling. And I just looked at her and I walked away. It was at that point I felt like it was no help for me. But I wasn't grounded in the word at that time either. I just wanted somebody to make it stop. Because no matter where I went, he was there, just like your stalker. Wherever I went, he was there. I try to go to work, he come tearing up stuff, or he gonna do something to destroy it. It was just never ending cycle with this person. And I was tired. And that lady, I remember getting in my car, just sitting there, and she came out the back door of the police department and she was trying to get my attention, but I just drove off. Because at that point, you beat me down. I felt like it was no help. So if you're that person out there that's feeling beat down and you feel like you may be in a situation that you cannot get out of, you can get out of it. It's just you have to go about it in a certain manner. Now,
Pray.
back to these individuals. My last podcast, I talked about when a man is led by God, he's supposed to love his woman as Christ loved the church. With that,
Amen.
there are something called sacrifices. And I want to talk about those sacrifices for just a minute. Financially, he's to give to you more than itself. That is lead into making a budget. When you are married and the man is being led by God, His job is to provide and protect. Provide and protect. As the wife, is your job to take care of the home, making your house a home, as you per se. So you guys should get together and make a budget that you both agree on. It shouldn't be the man using money to control you, because that's what a lot of the men do. And in Fanisa's situation, each one of them was the same. She didn't have any money. She was at home and they were controlling her with money as well. Emotionally, they should be able to listen to you, express your feelings, and validate. I've said it again. Emotional well being comes from acknowledging an emotion, validating the emotion, and then educating yourself on the emotion. So if you're with an individual and you're expressing your feelings and they don't even validate, acknowledge, or anything, then you might need to find somebody else, because a godly man wouldn't do that. He's going to be expressing, let you express yourself. Attention. Once again, if a man gives you more attention than anybody else, that's what he's supposed to do. That's his job. However, how many times or how many relationships fall apart because one spouse feels that the other one is not paying attention? I wasn't getting attention, so I went out and I did this and I did that. But a godly man is going to pay you more attention than anything else. You his wife. Physically, give her time to rest and rejuvenate. How many marriages have we been in where you're working 16, 17, 18, 24 hours, want to go home and rest, but that person got some other stuff for you to do? No respect. A godly man is going to give you time to rest and rejuvenate, because even though you working inside of the home, he may be working outside of the home. You're still both working, and you need that time to rejuvenate and rest. And also, time so that your spouse can still be an individual. I can't express when you're with someone and they become so controlling, so overbearing, that one day I remember looking in the mirror saying, where is Nikki? Nikki no longer exists. So it's okay if for a man to let you go out and just keep your individuality. It's a respect thing, in my opinion. You're still going to respect yourself, respect him, and respect your marriage. Just because I may go out and do something on my own does not mean that I don't love my spouse. But it's up to a godly man. He's going to give you that time so you can keep your individuality and not fuss with you and be, showing signs of being jealous and all that, because that's what you experience, and that has been my experience as well. Now, if you can find those things in an individual, then yes, you should be safe, because we need a safe space as women, and men do as well, because there are some abusive women out there. I just read to you, what was it, 39% of the men were killed by their
Yeah.
spouse?
Spouse.
So it's important to keep that in mind. And if you find yourself in that situation, remember, it's a way out. You can get out, but you have to be safe. It has to be planned. And also, you have to be prayerful. That takes me to the spiritual muscle today. Proverbs 3, 5 through 6. It encourages us to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight.
Amen.
How many of us has been in a situation like, why is this happening to me? So many people say, why is God letting this happen to me?
Yes.
This scripture reminds us to trust in the Lord. It's when we try to do things on our own and we trusting in ourselves more than the Lord, things start to happen. But when you go back, because your path's going to lead back to God. So when you trust in the Lord and you let him guide your path, you have to be obedient to his word. You have to know your daddy's voice. I remember looking at this sermon. This lady said, how many of us know our daddy's voice? You have to listen to that voice, and he will tell you, he will guide your direction. He's going to give you the path to get out. Now, I was talking to my brother one day and I said, you know what? A lot of us, we hear God's voice. You know, a lot of us say, you know, something told me not to turn down that street. Something told me not to do that job. That something was God.
Amen. Oh, okay.
What do? We don't listen to it. We
Don't do that.
something told you
Keep
not to
going.
take that job, but you took it anyway. And what happened? It didn't work out. That's God's voice telling you what to do. But we don't listen. And I tell people, I've been the hard head daughter. God is me, your hard head daughter again. I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do it your way this time. I got beat down enough. We have to keep in mind of God's promises. God knows where you are. He knows where you need to go, and he knows the best path to get you there. That comes with trust. He even knows what time we need to be there. How many times have you said to yourself, God, this right on time? Because he already know what time that you're going to need whatever it is you need to be there or to get out. Or the saying, oh, he's an on time God. But that comes with trust. So during your situation, Fanisa, where did God play a factor in that for you? Or did he? He may not. I don't know.
No, he did, because in my situation was when I decided to surrender,
Mm-hmm.
because I can see it like the past 5 years. I can feel myself keep getting depressed. Didn't want to go nowhere or anything. And so I decided, I said, you know what? I'm gonna get this to God, because I can't take this no more. So I started. I just started praying, and I seen a change in myself as I started. I get in the word. I don't go to church like I should, but I'm in the word every day. I done changed. These last 2 years of my life, I've been in the word. And I've been studying the Bible, been trying to get there. And you see where I come from, the family I'm from, you're not supposed to read the Bible, because they claim the Bible made my aunt and lose her mind. But I'm taught different. I'm taught different. Before you start praying, before you start reading, you ask for guidance. You ask for protection of your mind. But I started reading, and I'm comfortable. I'm just comfortable within myself. Things happen, even when I got an accident, I'll just say, okay, God, what's next? That's all I could do. I
Wait a minute,
usually
bag up.
panic.
You done lost me to the point where you said, so y'all never read the Bible growing up because
Uh-uh. We
your
only
family
read,
felt like it caused your
yes,
sister to lose her mind?
no, my
How do they
aunt,
your
my
auntie?
aunt.
How do they correlate the two?
Because after and I remember that. I was like 5 years old. I remember that. After she finished reading the last chapter in Revelation, she read the whole Bible. Marianne was smart. That's my aunt's name. Marianne was smart. She started acting weird. She went under the house barking like a dog. And so even my mama, but my grandpa would have the Bible open, but he couldn't read. That's what I couldn't understand either. But my mama would embed that in our head. The reason why my aunt went crazy because she read the Bible.
So do y'all you go to church because you've been to church with me before,
I go, yeah. You see, and that's what we listen to. We go to church faithfully every Sunday. We went to church faithfully every Sunday. I'm
but you just
Catholic.
physically didn't read the scripture.
Physically, we didn't get up. We didn't get the Bible open. We reread on what, like ours was called catechism. Y'all call it Bible study. That's how we would know about parts of the Bible,
Mhm.
you know. And that's why come I know John 3:16 so well, because that's what they would preach all the time. But, you know, I see the difference. Even now, I see the difference in from when I was praying my mama way, the way I was brought up, to the way I'm praying now. You see. So that's the thing. Because like, and for me, the Bible is interesting. It's a storytelling to me. It's interesting, you know. Because I started 2 years ago.
Mhm.
I started reading the Bible 2 years ago. I'm halfway there.
I grew up, going to church, but I wasn't raised in the church. It's a difference. I could go to
Oh,
church. You could go to church, but being
yes.
raised in the church, two different things. And I didn't realize that till I got a little bit older. So now my studies are my answers as to God, why? Or what can I do? Because it's like when I would go to man, they would give me advice, but it would never work. So I said, you know what? I
Amen.
need to go to the truth and figure this out because the route I'm going on my own is not working for me. So that's what sparked me to start to read the Bible and start to really study the word and learn the word, not per se the Bible verses, but read the word and then
And
find out what it actually means.
it's right.
So anything that I read to you guys isn't anything that out of the Bible that I didn't study it and know the meaning behind it. I have to be trusting and knowing the meaning behind it before I reveal it to somebody else. I pray to God, what is it that you want me to reveal today? And he gives me verses, and that's what I do. But I study them days or weeks before I present them to you guys. So her story just reminds me of the Bible means different things to different people.
Hmm.
But I'm glad in your journey now that you're able to read it and kind of understand it, and it's helping you along with your life.
It really is. It's helping a lot, And my thing is with my family, I can't. I have one sister, but I can't really discuss what I'm reading,
Mm-hmm.
because that is kind of, I don't know how to put it. Because when my brother do it, my mom get offended. Because my
Well,
brother, he does. She say he talking crazy. No, he not. He not talking crazy. He in
so
the word. He just, yeah.
in that scripture that I read, for those that may be in that situation, it's good. Get you a Bible. He can't take that from you. He or she
Mhm.
cannot take that from you. There's nothing wrong with sitting down, getting your Bible, reading a verse. Now, if you're like me and you get like the King James version, the For Thou Art, they have so many different versions now that will make it where you can read it and understand it. Because in the beginning, I was like, I don't understand this, but now I know there are different forms of it that will break it down for you, even tell you the meaning behind the scriptures, all of that. So if you find yourself in that situation or in any situation, trust me, it's something in that Bible that can help you, a scripture that can help you. God will guide your steps and lead you out.
But
Once
go where he can't see you reading it. Because when I was caught reading, it got slapped out of my hand. So go where he can't see you reading it. Yeah.
you're in that situation, you can even be on your cell phone and you can pick up your cell phone. You don't
That's
necessarily
right.
even have to
Yeah.
have a Bible. You can just put in Bible verses for anger or whatever it is, and then trust me, they're going to all pop up. So those things are important in your journey of healing. Because once you get out of those situations, that's when the real work is going to start, the healing process. Because it takes time. For me, I lived in fear for many years. I I had nightmares. My emotional and mental well-being was thrown off. I can remember one night calling my friends that saying, I'm sorry, I was about to take a shotgun to somebody. I mean, this man had drove me crazy. This
Yeah, I
young
remember
lady
that.
you see on the screen right now saved his life.
Remember that? Yes. Remember that night. I
Because
had to
I was
go
talking to her on the phone. Next thing I know, she's knocking at my door. I'm like, who at my door? It's her.
Yes, I
So
could.
yeah, so
Mhm.
get you a Bible. After that, I started reading the Bible because I figured I was losing my mind at that point. But I was just angry and didn't know how to deal with it. So I took the time, I did the work, and now I want all of you to do the work as well. And know that healing is possible, and that if you keep praying and remember God's promises to not to harm us but prosper us. With that
That's
being
it.
said, I want to leave you guys with peace, love, and light. Until the next time we meet. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. This is a bittersweet moment because I started my podcasting here at this company, but this is my last recording here. This is one of these godly moments where I had to accept that God is closing this door in order for me to move to a new spot. He's opening a new door for me. I don't know what that door is yet, but I still will continue with the content for those who are in need. It was hard for me. I tried everything to stay here, but God kept saying, no, it's time for you to go. So with that being said, I don't know what the future gonna hold, but I'm just looking forward to it. I want to thank
Amen.
each and every person that works at this company. Thank you for everything you've done for me. They edit these videos, so I know they're going to see it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to miss each and every one of you. Now, if you need some extra help, I almost forgot. Please go to, let me show you guys, internalevolutions.com and book a discovery session. It's free of charge. That is my coaching business. We can sit down and we can talk about it. And thank you, Fanisa, for coming on.
Welcome.
I'm looking forward to talking to you again soon.
Yes.
Peace,
Okay.
love, and light. Goodbye.